Journal notes. These are from my personal experiences and thoughts only. Take all things to the Lord for confirmation and understanding. Written on September 18, 2023, 3:10 a.m. God gave me another revelation regarding several things. But this time, the experience was very different than any other I had had so far with the Lord. I had had a bad day at work and was soaking in the tub where I like to do a daily Bible study and talk to God. I was thinking on lovely things, like how wonderful my daughter is and how proud of her I am and that she is my pride and joy, when God interrupted my thoughts to say, "That is exactly how I feel about each and every one of you." My first thought was how wonderful to have God feel that strongly for us. We each make him proud, even now in our current state. My next thought was that I realized I was naked in the bathtub, talking to God. I started to cover myself when the revelation was shown to me in a vision of the time before Eve bit the apple, where they both stood unashamedly naked before God. And then I knew, if I truly believed Jesus died for me and washed me clean by his blood, then my Father does not see my nakedness. He sees me sin-free, pre-apple bite. He sees my clean white robes given to me by Jesus. Adam in the Garden of Eden felt shame in his nakedness after sinning. I knew I had no shame in being nude before God because I know Jesus' death and resurrection have washed me clean of Adam's sin and restored my relationship with my Creator. Back to the garden? As all of this realization begins to dawn on me, I am suddenly shot up out of the house through a glass rainbow that shatters like shards but immediately turns into poofs of clouds high in the sky. When there I was before God just above the earth. This is what I saw. God and everyone there were singing lyrics by the doors, "Break on through to the other side." Break, 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 break on through, yeah. It sounded like a live band. It was very loud and very reverberative, like thunder rolling. It's kind of hard to describe. God sang along and danced. He was swaying and bouncing. Even God's hair and clothes dance and sway. Everyone was so happy I was there. I could hear them saying, "She's here, she's ready." I saw myself from someone else's perspective and also my own at the same time. It was weird. I was female and male-looking, robed and armored up for battle. I was riding on a white horse mixed with a bird-looking creature, identical to everyone there. Before me are Father and many others, when Jesus appears in front of me having stepped straight out of the heart of Father. The heart of God shines with a glowing light. It was so amazing to see Jesus come out of God's heart and glide through the crowd of people. His head was above all of us. He was 9 feet tall and stopped in front of me. Jesus is giving us information and instructions. Jesus motions for me to look at something behind me. As I looked over my shoulder, a cloud opened up to reveal earth just below us. And we all descended as if in a war cry together, me leading the charge. When suddenly I was back in the bathtub, realizing I had just broken through to heaven and had been given a two-realm experience. I immediately wrote it in my journal. I could not believe what had happened. I wrote down all the details as fast as I could so I would remember what I was doing to be able to have that experience. I knew God wanted everyone to hear how easy it is to have heavenly experiences. I told everyone at work who was a Christian over the next few weeks out of absolute pure joy. And everyone who knew me at that time thought I was losing my mind and for a little while I was no good for this world. Since then, other breakthroughs and revelations started flooding me to the point I filled so many journals. I even started typing them on my laptop because I can type faster than write and my hands would cramp. Then I just stopped writing them down. It was so much I couldn't keep up. It is amazing how much God is speaking. We just have to tune into the right frequency. This was such an amazing experience, I cannot use words to describe it. God is great, y'all. Funny side note. No, I did not see them naked. I saw them before sin, facing their Father unashamed with leaves covering them. Much like the depictions we have seen from great artists. The image of God is a lot like the Coca-Cola Santa Claus. Makes you wonder why Satan would use the same image of our Heavenly Father to depict Satan. This was another experience that altered me. I do understand some of it, but not all. Some of the information God had downloaded into me years earlier under a tree in Alabama. I took off running to tell my husband what God had just told me when God said, "You can't remember it right now, it's for later." I stopped in my tracks, having forgotten all but one word because I kept repeating it to myself, so I wouldn't forget. I go running to my husband and tell him how God's just given me some great revelation about government that I'm not supposed to remember until later, and that's how I told it to my husband too. All I could remember was it was going to be amazing, and he showed me how it ran all the way up the chain of command up to Jesus, the head. I am just now getting some of that revelation, and it is 7 years later. I have been trying to figure out some of this stuff. I also didn't know I could ask God to give me insight into these downloads until a year ago. Wow, that would have saved time. Side note. I realized afterwards that every time I am genuinely feeling love towards a person, an animal, nature, lost in thought. But thinking on lovely things, that's where God shows up. This is a huge key in speaking with God. If you're sitting worrying, that's not thinking on that which is good or righteous, like your love for someone else. That genuine deep love is where God is every time. A lot of times I am simply thinking on God in our conversations, what He has told me, the funny things He has shown me, and God is hilarious, and it usually leads to a huge revelation. More random thoughts in the journal entry. I feel like in my nakedness I cannot hide or lie to myself in this space. I've always felt it truly has something about being in water, like a conduit, because you are stripped. Another side note, with all my experiences with Jesus and Father in heaven, I have never, that I can recall, ever seen His hands or feet with scars. Don't know why. I think I knew Jesus before the day of the crucifixion because I remember when God asked, who would go? And a water bearer said, here I am, Lord, send me. What God asked us to do was follow after Him and bring living waters to my people, feed my sheep, His word. Living waters. Therefore, I am able to be in my Father's presence and not feel shame or guilt. It took a very long time to be comfortable with the weight of God's eyes on me, and now I am able to spend all the time I want with God, and trust me, it makes life very hard to live. You do find yourself wanting to be in His presence all the time. You're almost no good for anything else. But life has a way of dragging you away from the Father. That is why my bath time is so important. That is His time. I do other worship throughout the day as well, not just bath time. Weird side note, sorry. GAIN, these are just my random journal notes from one experience I had with God.